is a bad idea. It's just a joke, all right? Yeah, but it's not funny. Simka, you're boring. It's April Fool's Day.
Now, this is more of a funny one, more of an entertaining video than my previous videos on the channel, because we're talking about something that I feel like rings really true, especially to people who grew up with cartoons in the 80s and 90s. You know, the golden era of cartoons when it comes to Disney, when it comes to animation, and it's not even just the 80s and 90s. Cartoons were great even in the 30s and 40s, and then if you look at the garbage AI slop and just horrible animation coming out now, you probably agree with the sentiment of this video. And if you do, I want your comments about it as well down in the comment section, because we're going to be reacting to a bunch of people who've come to this realization as well. The cartoon industry, the animation industry is dying, and the reason why is horrible animation. And it's not even just horrible animation, it's storytelling as well. With that being said, let's dive into today's video.
Just me, but like the only time I watch cartoons is when I go to my grandpa's. Like, that's literally the only place I watch cartoons. And oh my god, the cartoons now fucking suck. Nickelodeon, trash. Nickelodeon and Disney are all like three trash slop garbage. Stupid like little kid shows, they suck. They're terrible, like they're just so boring. Cartoon Network is the best and will always be the best, bro. Cartoon Network is the best cartoon show, obviously. Because they're like sticking to the format that's been good, bro. They're not turning into like 3D slop shit. Fucking trash. Like, there's some 3D shows and stuff, but it's still, like, all the good stuff. And they still mainly air all the older shows. Not older, like, all the shows from, like, when I was, like, watching cartoons, like, when I was a kid. Like, Amazing World of Gumball, regular show, and stuff. And then their newer cartoons aren't even that bad. Like, Craig, I fuck with Craig the Freak, but that show's pretty good. But, like, Nick and Disney are fucking ass now.
And a lot of cartoons back in the day were made by hand, animation cells and stuff. There wasn't too much involvement when it comes to computers. Now I feel like animation is so reliant on computers right now that ultimately it feels fake, and maybe it's because it's a reflection of reality, and maybe reality just is more and more fake.
Cartoons gotten worse over the years, so recently dawned on me that there aren't any big mainstream kids TV shows anymore, and when I look at what's currently airing, something is definitely off. For starters, there isn't that one particular show that every kid is watching, and on top of that, the average kid would rather watch YouTube than traditional television. But the question is, why? Now, as someone who grew up during the early 2010s, which is considered by many to be the golden age of cartoons, specifically Cartoon Network, we were eating good. Not only were we getting incredible shows like Adventure Time, Steven Universe, regular show, The Amazing World of Gumball, amongst many other things, on top of that, we also had years of backlog content to follow on, like Powerpuff Girls, Johnny Bravo, Billy and Mandy, so on and so forth. I mean, our quality of television was so good that I still find enjoyment in a lot of the shows that were airing at the time. But why is that? Well, for starters, if you were to look at the shows I just mentioned, apart from them being really good, they had incredible writing, phenomenal storytelling, great character arcs, and on top of that, they were able to handle sensitive and relatable topics while still being able to cater to both young and old viewers.
Yeah, animation in that era, like the late 90s, early 2000s, while I think that it suffered a little bit in terms of quality of animation, it still delivered in terms of a cohesive story, something that is sadly lacking a lot with today's modern cartoons and modern animations. And it's not even just cartoon shows, it's also cartoon films.
The animation industry is being overrun by executives who don't know what they're talking about and don't know how storytelling works. I went to school for animation. I've been in the animation industry for over 15 years now, and the way the animation industry is going is not great. So there are two things that came out recently that I think are kind of like little red flags that kind of show you what's happening in the industry. One of them is a statement that Bob Iger made where he was saying basically that they are not interested in doing films that have messages in them anymore. They want to just focus on good storytelling. And the other one is a article about Pixar, and they don't want to focus as much on like stories that are personal to the filmmakers. They instead want to focus on stories with mass appeal. I.e., we're going to get a ton of sequels is what it's basically adding up to. And there are a few things wrong with these statements that I think anyone who has any understanding of storytelling and actually what goes into it will see. One is that all stories have messaging in them. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. A story without a message would be like telling someone the route you took to get to where they are. It's the Californians traffic report thing on SNL. That's all it would be. Stories will have messages in them. And the other weird idea, the Pixar thing about them wanting to move away from like personal stories. What do you think every single Pixar film has been up until this point? Turning Red, Luca, Soul, Elemental, those are not the start of personal story. Otherwise, why would all the Pixar films at the start all be about absentee fathers trying to connect with their kids. Andrew Stanton cited a time when he went out with his son to the park and he realized he was way overprotecting him. That was the source for Finding Nemo. The Incredibles is a story about a father reaching a middle-age crisis where he has to question whether or not his work-life balance is possible and if he can actually pursue a career while also being a family guy. It's from Brad Bird's own experience. All the very successful films from Pixar come from a personal source that is meaningful to that filmmaker.
And that's correct. Ultimately, if you have a story, there is going to be messages in there, but it's not even necessarily all about the story of the animations. Sometimes it's just about the quality of the animation that we're getting now. Everything feels so lazy compared to the amount of effort that was put into animation back in the day. And I'm not saying that there isn't any good animations coming out. In fact, there was a really good animation that came out, an animated film called Wild Robot that came out last year that if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend that film. It was better than most of the animations released in the last 2 or 3 years, but ultimately animations are suffering, and that's how I feel. I want your opinions, though, about this video down below in the comment section. Do you ultimately believe that animations are dying and the movie industry as a whole is in trouble? Leave your thoughts about this down below in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.